For a lot of us, life gets more difficult the older we get, especially we have no economic stability, no type of good looks that can hold us on, and no type of emotional support or any type of support that can actually make us focus on our dreams, our goals, and our true ambitions so that way we can achieve things that we want to achieve. When I was a kid and when I was younger, life seemed so more, it just seemed so much more peaceful, I suppose. Yes, I've had hard times. I was dealing with constant harassment and beratement by teachers and, betrayal by friends and all types of things, dealing with a schizophrenic uncle, always having, money problems and economic issues, even as a kid, like there's only so much your mom can do for you. There's only so much clothes she can buy and, getting teased at school for wearing the same clothes, wearing the same shoes while everybody else had new clothes and new shoes. My mom was trying her best and still tries her best. But when you were a kid, you had that shield of protection and where no one expected you to have anything. Nobody expected you to have life figured out. But when you get into your mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and you still haven't really figured out life yet or achieved your dreams, the world is going to look at you with no mercy. The world is going to look at you like, well, you didn't want to fall in line. You didn't want to go the traditional route, become a wage slave and have your soul loose farmed by the evil archons like everybody else, like all the billions of people. It's like the world punishes you for trying to step out of line and become something great and achieve your truest dreams and ambitions. It's like the world is like, how dare you? How dare you? Somebody that doesn't look traditionally attractive, somebody that doesn't come from a rich and powerful family. How dare you try to become an entrepreneur? How dare you try to use your natural acclamations, your natural propensities, and your natural talent to try to achieve something great? How dare you? You're supposed to fall in line, do as you're told, and become a wage slave to the last of your days. And as you get older in life gets more harder, it gets more trying. People reveal their true color and nature, even though you already knew what they were, years ago. And everything starts to fit. And what I mean by fit, like you get a more clarity, you get a better understanding as you get older. And when you get older and you're going through pain and agony and all types of things, you start to see life for what it really is. You know people that are bastards when you first meet them. You can just feel that energy. As when you was younger, you may have had a more trusting spirit. Oh, I trust this person. This person's this, that, this. Then that person backstabbed you. And then you get that emotional devastation you have. And it's like, damn. And then you keep doing it over again. Then eventually you're just going to get smarter, older, and wiser. And you know which people that you want around you and what people to stay away from. It's why a lot of men isolate themselves. A lot of men, it's not that like a lot of men are not choosing to go out there and want to find jobs. No, everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to make money, right? The problem is it's the people at the jobs. It's the asshole managers. It's the asshole co-workers. It's the rules and the regulations that seem so kindergarten. You treat grown adults as if they're children. And then not everybody's cut out to make to be in the 9 to 5 world. I think it was Tawana. Tawana made an excellent video, a while back. He was talking about not every man is cut out to have a 9 to 5. Some people are just naturally talented and gifted, and what they need to be is around other people that are naturally talented and gifted that already made it in what they wanted to be. So for instance, if you want to be, let's say you want to make music, right? You got to be around somebody who's already doing it, who's already living. They already got a house, a car. They got successful, songs on the charts. Their streaming numbers are up. They got a fan base. You got to be around a person like that can show you the ropes and tell you the do's and the don'ts of the game. Because if you're just out there just trying to fish in a vast ocean, the chances of you catching a megalodon are zero. But this person knows exactly where that megalodon is, what part of the ocean it is, and people are saying that the megalodon is so rare that it's alleged it went extinct. And if you're around everybody who feels like their dreams are extinct, then you're never going to make it. You have to be around the right people in this world, and you need a mentor. That's what a lot of us need. We don't need just I grew up, I didn't have a father. The last time I seen my father, I was 7 years old. I'm 34 now. The last time I seen my dad, I was 7 years old. I haven't seen him since. I don't know whether he's alive or not, right? But if you have a father who is a no good father, then That's a bad mentor. That's just as bad as having no mentor. You have to find a successful guy, who's older, or a woman, but you know how that is. Women don't even want to choose the most attractive guys to be around and teach. They'll choose somebody who just came out of prison yesterday, and because he looks a certain way, she'll teach him everything and give him everything. Meanwhile, if you're a good guy, a normal person, and you got a good heart, good soul, and a good spirit, but you don't look traditionally attractive, then she's not gonna give you not even a penny, or not even a look, or not even an ounce of her time. It's brutal, but it's real. But you have to find somebody when you're younger who's living the exact life that you want. I'm gonna bring it up again. The Taz Taylor Nick Mara situation. Nick Mara was doing fine by himself, of course. Once he got with Taz Taylor, he went to that other level. And that's for anything in life, man. It's why soldiers go through basic combat training. You're not gonna just take a raw recruit who was a civilian yesterday and throw him on the front lines. They don't really know what to do. You have to get trained by people who actually been there and done that. And in this world, the older you get, the more you start to realize how painful this existence is, how evil this existence is, how everything is evolved around money. To me, it makes no sense that we're eternal souls, we're eternal beings, but yet we're trapped by money. We're trapped by an artificial construct. Money is an artificial construct. Trees don't need money. Water doesn't need money. The sun doesn't need money. The moon doesn't need money. A grizzly bear doesn't need money. A shark doesn't need money. An ant doesn't need money. A spider and a snake, a scorpion, whatever you can name, a bird, a bee, whatever. None of those things need money, yet they have abundance, yet they're able to eat and they're able to thrive and stay alive. Yeah, they may get predated on by other animals. They may, get hunted by humans, but they're not trapped by artificial constructs and artificial conscripts. How come we as people, supposed to be in the image of God, how come our lives are so hard? And it gets worse the older you get, because the older you get, you start to realize that your dreams that you had are crushed. You're never going to be able to accomplish that thing. You're not the same. You don't have the same energy. You don't have the same synergy. You don't have the same mindset that you had when you were 21, when you're 25, and damn sure you don't have it when you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s. Your mind changes. Literally every single year, you have your cells that deteriorate. So the person you was 10 years ago, you're physically not that same person. You've had cells that deteriorated, cells that try to regenerate, and all that. But your body, each and every year, it replaces the cells. On a molecular level, your cells regenerate, but then they pass away. So you're not even physically the exact same person you was 10 years ago. And spiritually, you probably changed as well. I used to be a religious zealot. I read the Bible three times, front and back. I know my Bible. And I read the Apocrypha. I read all the books. The Greater Keys of Solomon, the Lesser Keys of Solomon. I read all the books, and I was deep into it, but I was starting to notice. I was like, how come that I'm a good person? I have a talent, but this God is not really putting me in position around people that are winning in life, doing the exact same things I want to do. So that way I can be around them and learn, and then I can become successful doing what I want to do. It's not because I'm lazy and I don't want to work a 9 to 5. Of course, I want to earn money and work a 9 to 5, of course, but I don't want to stay in a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I want to do the things that I love and the things that my soul is passionate about. So how come this world adds so many rules, regulations, and restrictions on us? It doesn't make any sense. It's like it's a spiritual prison, a loose harvesting farm. It's brutal, and it's just annihilation and devastation of the soul. Not everybody's cut out to be a wage slave. We're never going to have the great philosophers, the Platos, the Plutarchs, and people like that as they had in the days of old. Do you know how many great philosophers now are working at McDonald's, or working at Jack in the Box, or working at some low-paid skill job, and they're getting shitted on? And then you got people trying to give you backhanded compliments, saying, age doesn't matter. That's a cope. Age does matter. Age is literally everything. The time you make it to 35 years old, you literally lived half your life. A few thousand years ago, people barely made it to that age, right? And if you think about it, you add another 35 years, and that's 70 years old. And people in my skin color configuration, we have a lower lifespan due to the stress and due to everybody just despising us, and due to the economic lack of resources that we have, and the fundamental and essential ways of gaining, resources we don't have like other communities have. I was watching this one guy in Japan. He's like 51 and homeless in Japan or whatever, or he's broke, and Him being homeless and being poor is totally different from an American person in my position, in my situation, being financially devastated. Over there, they actually give a damn about their homeless. They give a damn about their poor. They got places where you pay $10 like a day to stay at. You can't find that in America. Because then if you find that in America, most people will say, well, fuck their house. They won't live in this place. They live in something cheaper. It's like America wants everybody to be enslaved. And it goes deeper than that. It goes into the secret societies that control everything from the shadows and the beings and entities that are involved with that. The archons, the Draco reptilians. I can keep going deep. But as you get older, you start to realize this whole life is a joke. Everything is smoke and mirrors. They utilize deception as a powerful weapon. Most people are sheep. Most people are watching TikTok, playing Fortnite or just doing stupid shit. They're not gaining real spiritual growth and development and knowledge, and everything's designed to distract you. Look at the political atmosphere. You got the right versus the left, and both of them all work for the same Illuminati. They work for the same Jays. The Jays orchestrate all this. Even when they had the BLM movement, I didn't support it. You know what I mean? Because I knew that movement wasn't an organic movement. It was a fake movement that was orchestrated by the Jays to make people already hate people like me even more, make people dislike people like me even more. It's just, this world is found on a foundation of ignorance and a foundation of arrogance from the powers that be. I don't support no political movements. I'm not political. I'm raw, and truly spiritual. And I don't mean spiritual that's coming from these orchestrated religions where you have to be obedient to an oppressor. When they tell you that obedience, you got to be obedient. Obedient for what? And obedient to who? I have the divine spark inside of me, and I'm being trapped by an evil, cynical, twisted being that declares itself a god, but it puts death and destruction to rule over us. It rules us by fear and terror. If you don't bow to me and do as I say, I'm going to send you to hell. It's like, what? And then when you go to its artificial heaven, that's not the real heaven. That's an artificial construct like this world. It doesn't matter how beautiful it looks in that. Some people are just so spiritually cowardly that they will never see outside the box. Just because somebody goes to church every Sunday doesn't mean they're getting spiritual acclamation and any type of spiritual ascension. Because the church is not designed for you to spiritually grow. It's designed so you can stay spiritually stagnant. You pay your tithes, you pay your money, you pay this, and the pastor gets more wealthy and rich. You see those mega churches? You see, when I was younger, I didn't really notice. As I got older, I started to notice. Some of these guys live life of extravagance. They live the life of old Roman emperors like Emperor Caligula, Emperor Nero, Commodus, emperors like that. Wealth, luxury, and abundance. If they're telling you, you got to pay your tithes and you're barely hanging on there, it's just like, why don't you help the poor? Help the people that are invalidated in life. Talk about the real spiritual truth and wisdom. Answer questions. People say, if there's a good God, then how come this world is just so evil and wicked? How come in order for us to survive, we have to eat, dead things? We have to eat pieces of dead flesh from animals that were once alive. In order for us to survive, something has to lose its life. What kind of God would design a system like that? It doesn't make any sense. If we're really spiritually advanced, we should be beyond eating the flesh of dead animals and things of that nature. We should see alternative ways of surviving. We shouldn't even need to survive that way, because the minute you eat something, you get food, you get satisfied, you're going to need to eat something tomorrow. You drink something now, when you're thirsty, you're going to get thirsty again later. That doesn't make any sense for a being that has infinite potential and infinite totalities. Think about it. This universe has billions and trillions of planets and galaxies and realms, yet we're trapped because we don't have enough money to survive. Yet money is an artificially created construct. This God didn't use money to create, the heavens and earth. It just willed into existence thanks to Sophia's power. So when you look at this as you get older, man, you start to notice, man, you lose family members. That's how you know you're really getting older. You lose family members. You lose the love of people that you once cared about. You lose your friends. You lose your sanity. You lose your dreams, your ambitions. As you get older, man, you start to lose a lot more. Life gets more worse as you get older. Then you get hit with the age pill. You see guys more younger than you. Like, I'm watching this one YouTuber. He's 18 years old, and he made $165,000 in 1 month for making beats and doing online music sales. And I'm just like, damn, I could just take 5% of that, and that would change my life right now and help me out exponentially and tremendously. But yet I guarantee when I try to follow any types of path that leads to success, doing what I love for a living, there's going to be so many fucking roadblocks. It's going to be so much, damnation. There's going to be so much things to stop me because once I get happy and get spiritually pure, I can start thinking more. I can start deciding more, and I can really see the transparency and the clarity of this evil fucking realm that we're trapped in, That's why this world is designed to take our attention away. And the people and the powers that be don't give a damn. They're making life even more frustrating. Look at the new Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I used to play Call of Duty to relieve stress. Now I can't even play that game for 10 minutes because every time you spawn, somebody shoots you from the back. You spawn again, and that's like, what is this Call of Duty? What the hell has happened to Xbox? What has happened to this? Halo's not even the same as it used to be. And that's not just in video games. It's in video games. It's in music. It's in the deterioration of the food we eat. Like earlier, I looked on this little box and it says contains bioengineered food ingredient. I threw it away. You know what I mean? Point blank, like, no, I'm tired of eating bioengineered food ingredients and shit. I'm tired of eating that because I don't know what that does to my body. Back in the 90s, we didn't have bioengineered food ingredients. It wasn't like that then. And if it was like that then, they kept it a big secret, but now they put it right on the box. As you get older, you realize that this whole world is nothing more than a lie.